I always thought he was just my classmate, harmless, straight, untouchable. But today, something changed. He looked at me differently, closer, warmer, like he couldn't stop himself. And when our hands accidentally brushed over my notebook, I felt it, that spark, that electricity. Jake couldn't resist me. Not today. Not ever. And everything I thought I knew about him and about myself was about to change. The classroom smelled faintly of chalk and polished wood, but right now, I barely noticed it. My focus was entirely on him, Jake. He was sitting across from me, his dark hair falling just above his eyes, that familiar smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. I'd known him for months, exchanged smiles, casual jokes, and shared projects. But today felt different. I felt at the moment he leaned slightly closer, pretending to look at the notes I'd scribbled in my notebook. The brush of his sleeve against mine sent a jolt straight to my chest. My heartbeat picked up, a rhythm that felt too loud in the quiet room. I told myself it was nothing, just nerves. But deep down, I knew better. Jake's eyes flicked up to mine, locking with a gaze that was suddenly charged, impossible to ignore. For a fraction of a second, time seemed to freeze. He leaned a little more, the air between us thickened, heavy with a tension neither of us had admitted aloud. My stomach fluttered, an almost painful mix of excitement and fear. I tried to focus on the lesson, on the teacher droning about something irrelevant, but every word sounded distant. All I could hear was a quiet sound of my own breathing and the steady thrum of my racing heart. And then Jake's hand brushed mine again, this time not by accident. He lingered, fingers grazing mine softly, testing the waters. I didn't pull away. I couldn't. "You've got something on your hand," he said softly, his voice low, almost intimate. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. He wasn't talking about dirt. Not really. I tried to respond casually, but my voice faltered. I don't think so." Jake's lips curved into that dangerous smile of his, the one that always made me forget myself. He leaned closer, so close that I could feel his breath, warm against my ear. "Are you sure?" The tension snapped something inside me. Before I could think twice, I brushed my fingers against his intentionally, letting a spark of contact ignite a flame neither of us could ignore. His eyes darkened, and I saw it. The hesitation, the desire, the unspoken question that had been lingering between us for weeks. He didn't resist. Not anymore. Jake moved just enough to close the space, his hand resting lightly over mine on the desk. I felt the heat radiate from him, a magnetic pull that made it impossible to focus on anything else. My chest tightened, my thoughts scattered, every instinct screaming at me to lean in, to let this happen. "I shouldn't," he murmured, his voice low, almost a whisper. But the way he looked at me, with something raw and unguarded, made my resistance crumble. I leaned closer, closing the last inches between us, our foreheads nearly touching. "Why shouldn't you?" I asked softly. "If we both want this, then why fight it?" His breath hitched. "Because everyone expects me to be something I'm not." I tilted my head, daringly bold. Maybe it's time to stop caring what everyone expects. The silence stretched, heavy and charged. Then, slowly, hesitantly, he leaned forward and pressed his lips to mine. The world fell away. The dull hum of the classroom, the distant footsteps in the hallway, even the scribbling of pens, all vanished. There was only him and the warmth of his lips against mine, gentle at first, then gradually with more need, more hunger. My hands moved of their own accord, resting on his shoulders, feeling the tension in his muscles ease as he melted into my touch. Every brush of his fingers against mine sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't believe this was happening, that the boy I'd admired from afar, the one who always seemed untouchable, was here, kissing me, wanting me, needing me. We pulled back just slightly, breathless, foreheads resting together, hearts pounding in unison. I could feel his pulse, strong and steady, and it mirrored my own in a way that made the moment feel infinite. "You have no idea how long I've wanted this," he whispered, his lips brushing my ear, sending a shiver through me. "Then don't wait any longer," I breathed, pressing closer. The bell rang, jarring us back to reality, but we didn't move immediately. The classroom was emptying, the noise returning, yet we stayed locked together, caught in our own private world. Jake's hand slid down to mine again, fingers intertwining naturally, possessively. "Meet me after class?" he asked, voice low, intimate, and urgent. I nodded, unable to find words, and watched him leave the room, a mix of longing and anticipation coiling in my stomach. Every step he took away from me made me ache, to see him again, to feel him close, to explore the fire we'd just ignited. When the last student left, I gathered my things quickly, my mind racing with thoughts of him, and made my way to the agreed meeting spot, the rooftop. The sun had begun to set, casting golden streaks across the city skyline, and the gentle breeze carried a hint of magic, as if the world itself was conspiring in our favor. Jake was already there, leaning against the railing, looking impossibly handsome in the fading light. He glanced at me, a mischievous glint in his eyes, and my heart skipped. Without a word, he pulled me into a tight embrace, the heat of his body pressing against mine, grounding me. I rested my head on his shoulder, breathing him in, feeling the tension and anticipation melt away. "You have no idea what you do to me," he murmured against my hair. "And you have no idea what you do to me," I replied, lifting my head to meet his gaze. His hands traced my jawline, tilted my face toward his, and then, slowly, deliberately, our lips met again. The kiss deepened, more urgent now, more demanding, as if we were both making up for all the time we'd wasted denying our feelings. We pulled apart only for breath, foreheads resting together, hearts hammering in sync. Every touch, every look, every sigh was electric, an undeniable force binding us together. The city stretched out around us, but we were oblivious, lost in a world of stolen kisses, whispered confessions, and secret touches. "You're mine," he said softly, yet with an intensity that made me shiver. "And you're mine," I replied, feeling a thrill at the possessiveness in his tone. The night deepened and we stayed there, wrapped in each other, the rooftop our own private universe. Every brush of his fingers, every whisper of his lips, every heated glance promised more closeness, more intimacy, more of the forbidden magic we discovered in that classroom. By the time we finally descended, reluctant to leave our rooftop sanctuary, I knew nothing would ever be the same. We had crossed a line, ignited a fire, and there was no going back. And as we walked side by side, fingers intertwined, I realized that Jake hadn't resisted me because he didn't want to. He resisted no longer because he couldn't. And neither could I.